All right, welcome back. You're watching NewsX. A Tejas fighter, in fact, crashed while performing a maneuver at the Dubai Air Show. People at the event who saw this particular crash said that they were not able to gauge as to what transpired. They were also not able to see if the pilot ejected or not. But we're going to try and understand from our guests as to what they think must have happened. Joining us on the program at this point in time is Major General A.K. Sabotage, former Chief of Territorial Army, Senior Defence Expert. Major General Brajesh Kumar, former DG Military Infrastructure, Senior Defence Expert, also joins us on the show. Group Captain UK Devnath, former Indian Air Force officer, with us on the program as well. And last but by no means the least, Mr. Ravi Gupta, former Director, DRDO. Before we begin, let's listen in. Well, the jet itself is a single-seat light combat aircraft developed by Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. That's why it's necessary, or rather it becomes necessary, to talk about what went wrong. What's interesting is also that the incident marks the second crash involving a Tejas aircraft in less than 2 years. In March 2024, a Tejas fighter went down in Rajasthan's Jaisalmer. We spoke about it then. However, the pilot ejected safely in that case. Now the Tejas is a 4.5 generation multi-role combat aircraft built to perform air defense missions, offensive air support and close combat operations. It is also noted for being one of the lightest and smallest fighters in its class. A key feature of the jet is its Martin Baker 0-to-0 ejection seat, designed to allow pilots to eject safely even at zero altitude and zero speed, such as during takeoff, landing or low-level maneuvers. The system uses an explosive charge to blow off the canopy, thrust the pilot clear of the aircraft and deploy parachutes to stabilize descent. All this brings us to the question as to what exactly must have happened. Why did this plane crash? On that note, we'll begin this conversation. Like I already said, we will begin with Major General A.K. Sabotage. General Sabotage, first of all, your observation. We so far have seen that the Tejas has been a reliable aircraft. What actually brings me, a bit of concern is the fact that India has also thought and, made defense export a part of its Viksit Bharat agenda. So for the image as well as the reputation of all our indigenous touched aircrafts and equipment has to be unmatched in terms of safety and security. Does that harm Tejas's reputation in any way? What's happened here?
Yeah, Vineet. See, 2-3 things stand out. First of all, Tejas Mark 1 Alpha, which this was an aircraft, it has got a very good track record. From 2001 to now, this is the only second air crash. In such type of air show, you find sometimes F-35, Sukhoi 57 also have crashed. Now, as far as this aircraft is concerned, in last 5 days, they have done number of maneuvers, and the air display shown by them was of a very high standard, and there were a lot of interest which was shown by aviation experts, and there were a number of countries which shown keenness of buying this, especially Southeast Asia like Philippines, Indonesia, Vietnam and Malaysia. Now, unfortunate incident which has taken place on the last day, that's on the 5th day, possibly looks to be that it was a low altitude maneuver which was tried by the pilot, and possibly the G maneuver, and the speed in which he has come down, he wanted to take the aircraft again back, but in that loop possibly he couldn't have done. That is seemingly looks to be the cause, but however, the court of inquiry has been already ordered. It will exactly find out what is reason, whether it was a technical hitch, whether it was a bird hit, whether it was a pilot error, that will come. But one thing is very certain, the Tejas Mark 1 Alpha is an extremely good aircraft. It's a multi-role aircraft. It's known for air defense. It is for offensive action. It is also for defensive action. I suppose this will be a temporary setback, but it's not going to make impact in the long run, because Tejas Mark 1 has displayed its capability for last 4 to 5 days, and it has basically taken the interest of all the aviation experts which were present there during this Dubai Air Show. Vineet.
Okay. Fair enough, sir. Let me also rope in Major General Brajesh Kumar into this conversation. Sir, there have been concerns in the past as well when it comes to the engine performance and the indigenous engine failure that has taken place in the Tejas Mk1 and Mk1A in the past as well. There were different variants. The engine was imported. The GE 404 F404 engine was used, if I'm not mistaken. A lot of people, officials have also stated that it was an underpowered aircraft. Is that something that comes to your mind when you look at this air crash?
We need any crash is not a very nice thing to happen, especially to us or to the nation or to the user or also to the HAL, which has its name in producing aircraft. We've been doing it for long periods of time. Setbacks do happen, and the aspect of engine you talked about, yes, we have a weakness as far as the engine is concerned. We don't make worthwhile ourselves. We are dependent on import, whether it's from US or it was from Russia or Ukraine, as you talked about it. The engines have been an issue. But notwithstanding, see, the aircraft itself, the fighter aircraft, which is going to be our mainstay, has large number of equipment, assemblies, sub-assembly, and systems. Engine, of course, is important, and the way it looks like today, it went into a dive and could not pull while performing acrobatics, which aircraft supposed to do. It was trying to show its skills, its maneuverability, and what have you to the audience. So, well, at the face of it, it looks awkward, but that's all right. That's all right. The people who the business was serious in nature, they look at many other parameters, and I'm sure we'll come out of it. And also, the board of inquiry or the court of inquiry which has come out will fix things up. And the fact that India is no pushover as far as the avionics is concerned. When we can land our spacecraft on the wrong side of the moon with limited amount of budget, so our technical prowess per se is there. Let's not make any mistakes on this particular thing. It is a sad day because we lost the pilot as well. In the first aircraft, the pilot had bailed out. So in the 25 years journey, where we have inducted 2 squadrons into the Air Force, I think 16 plus 18, the 34 of them working, some of the Navy variants itself as well. It's a long journey. Development of aircraft indigenously is a long journey. If you talk of the famous ones who, the Douglas or the European ones who make these fighter aircraft, or the Russian ones as a matter of fact, they all started the journey during the pre-Second World War stage. During the World War II, they came up their own. And thereafter, of course, there have been huge amount of changes in technology. So the life of an aircraft or a fighter aircraft and its cycle time is pretty huge. We don't need to get disheartened. Obviously, it's boring to the eyesight when you see a national, IAF aircraft or HAL aircraft crashing down. But that's okay. That's a setback. That's temporary. Only thing bad is that we lost a trained pilot who were doing the maneuver. And the aircraft itself has huge amount of systems and subsystems, and we keep on upgrading them. So it's a constant process, and I'm sure the HAL, the people in the IAF authorities, the ministry will look into it rather closely. But as far as people are concerned, the nation is concerned, let's not be despondent. It's an accident, yes. The accident is sad.
Okay.
But then it's a building block as well.
I completely agree with you. It is an accident. It is rather unfortunate what's happened. We lost a brave pilot over there. Group Captain UK Devnath, it's imperative for us to discuss, what were some of those complications that the Tejas has had in the past. It's important to discuss them. There have been challenges which have been related to maintainability, sustainability as well. And despite it being an indigenous project or an indigenous product also, the Tejas remains heavily reliant on foreign supplies and components like the engine. for that matter, and other materials which are used into it. Is that something that perhaps could create more problems for the Tejas in the past or in the future?
Vinith, no country in the world makes 100% aircraft within through its own inventory or through its own resources. Let's take a typical project like F-35. F-35 also about 20% of the components of F-35 are manufactured either in Europe or Taiwan or Japan, South Korea. This is a typical trend all over the world. Similarly, Russia also till recent times used to make about 80 to 90% components in Russia and import rest of the components or sub-components, sub-assemblies from countries like North Korea, China, even Iran. In case of Tejas, presently entire engine and engine related spare parts are being imported from USA. Other than that, major components of the electronic warfare suit kit EW system is also being imported primarily from Israel. We are also importing certain critical components like ejection seat from, say, UK. Uh, it is a typical trend all over the world. That is not the area of concern. Area of concern is will these countries continue to supply us these spare parts in next 50 years? Typically, Indian Air Force or any other Air Force in the world, including US Air Force, flies its aircraft through a life cycle which is invariably 40 years plus. 50 calendar years is a typical life of a fighter aircraft, even in US Air Force. So all these countries which are giving us spare parts or important components for Tejas must be persuaded, one, either they continue to supply that component to India for next 50 years, alternately they do 100% transfer of technology to India, so that in, say, next 5 to 10 years horizon, that component, say hydraulic pump, say fuel booster pump, say the electrical DC-DC converter, we start manufacturing in India itself. Technological challenges are always there. Other than transfer of technology, what happens if we have to make a component? Typical example will be, say, a dome of the radar. We have to make a big amount of investment in support equipment, the GSC ground support equipment, the laboratory, the workshop, the tools, dies, jigs, electronic support measures. These all small things, they add up to huge amount of cost. So many countries in the world, they go to the third part. Third part is, as the aircraft progresses through its life, say after 20 years, if we come to know that Israel has stopped making the electronic warfare kit, then after 20 years, when the aircraft will go through mid-life upgrade, that is the word used, jargon used by Indian Air Force and HAL. During mid-life upgrade, we introduce another new set of electronic warfare kit, which by that time either will be made in India, or maybe imported from another country. Reason being that by next 20 years, Israel may stop manufacturing the present electronic warfare kit. This happens with all the aircraft. But Vinith, Tejas being very light combat aircraft, there are difficulties. Firstly, there is a very limited space available inside the body to accommodate a new type of system or subsystem. Volume is very less. Secondly, Tejas, the generator cannot take on unlimited amount of additional electronic or electrical facilities. See, the generator generates certain amount of voltage, amperage, certain amount of capacity. So we cannot load further electrical systems on Tejas. Always it is a give and take. Our experience has been like that only. Like MiG-21, when we wanted to incorporate on MiG-21 new types of air-to-ground weapon systems, we had to cut away some old air-to-air missile delivery circuits. So we had to be happy with a Type 96 variant of MiG-21, in which electricity supply, because there is only one generator, two generator, they can supply only that much of electricity. So the electricity from air defense system, they were cut off, they were removed from the aircraft, and instead of that we fitted bomb delivery circuits. Yes, Vinith.
All right. Fair enough, sir. Thank you for that analysis. I'm also going to take a reaction from Mr. Ravi Gupta, former director of the DRDU. Mr. Gupta, I'm sure your insights from the past will give you some inkling as to what could have gone wrong here.
Vinith, first of all, I would say it is a very sad day, and my heart goes to the family of the deceased pilot. But let me tell you, my fellow panelists have already spoken quite a lot about it. As such, what could have gone, I would not like to make a guess, because the inquiry is being ordered. And in such a case, that, the aircraft, as my panelists, other panelists have brought out, it's a very, very complex equipment. And we have come a long way when we made our own HF Margot. From that day onwards, today, what Tejas we have designed and developed within the country, it's completely first of all, it is one of the safest aircraft in the world, the smallest. You just now said it is the smallest aircraft in the world, and a multi-role aircraft. The entire system, all these systems of this are computer controlled and AI enabled. So, as such, we think that it is one of the safest aircraft. And if you take a look back at the track record, it did not have a single crash in the entire development cycle. And only the last 2 years, we had one aircraft crash, and this is the second one. We don't want a single crash to happen. But matter of fact is that, after all, aircraft is a complex machine, and sometimes some things go wrong. What is important is that the inquiry is being conducted. Everything, all the details will be studied, and this will be a further learning process, because always in technology, it is always a learning process. It is a continuous learning process, and further improvements are to be made. So this incident, it's a very sad incident, unfortunate incident, but it will add to our knowledge even more, and make Tejas aircraft even more enabled, more competent, and more safer.
All right, fair enough. Before we wrap up, I'm going to take concluding remarks from all our guests. General Sivacha, I'll begin with you, sir. So what does this mean for our indigenous future as well as our indigenous capability? One crash is, of course, nothing to relook things at, but it's definitely a reminder that we can tweak the parameters to allow or disallow such accidents from happening in the future.
Very correct. We need, this is a learning process. Very correctly brought out. This is Tejas Mark 1 Alpha. We have got an engine from US. This is G404 engine. And if we are now further going to make it Tejas Mark 2, it will be G414 engine. Remember that in the world, there are only 4 countries which are manufacturing engine of their own. That is US, UK, France, and Russia. Even China do not have capability of making its own engine. It make it by reverse engineering. So therefore, it takes time. We tried on a Kaveri engine. It didn't succeed. Now we, for AMCA, that is Advanced Medium Combat Aircraft, which is roll out within 10 years, we are now licensing with France for the Safran engine. Possibly we'll develop ourselves jointly, and you'll find state of art. Now, whatever has happened, it is a temporary setback. In long run, it's not going to impact. Though, of course, the country like Malaysia, Indonesia, Philippines, they were almost about to give the order, because they have seen the capability of this aircraft in last 4 days. The air display, we should not only see what has happened on this day when unfortunately this incident taken place. Otherwise, this multi-role aircraft has been liked by one and all. One is it is a multi-role aircraft. Second thing is it is got the best radar system, avionics, and early warning system. Third, it is on a very competitive rate. I think Tejas Mark 1 Alpha, 2, they have a very bright future. We should not be become negative in what has happened. This do happen. Eurofighter had, F-16 always had number of accident. F-35 had, Su-57 Let's court of inquiry find out what is the actual reason of it. But I'm sure it has got still a very bright future. Vinny.
All right, fair enough. General Kumar, concluding thoughts, sir? General Bajesh Kumar?
Services.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Go
Yeah.
on.
The services are clear on this topic. The principal service, the Indian Air Force and the Indian Navy, which is a user of this, they are inducting into service. They are training themselves. They are training their systems. They have no issue with all of it. So we don't have to, look helter skelter or look left and right to change our fund. Forget about the world. Export will come later, but that's more important. We are making it for ourselves, our defense. And this is going to be our mainstay, replacing the workhorse MiGs. So therefore, there is no particular reason to get worried. Remain focused, and the accident has to be analyzed and pushed through. Engine remains our weakness. Engine remains our weakness. I'm sure people in the Atmanirbhar Bharat and thereabout are addressing it. So fair enough, sad day, but push on, bash on regardless. We have to support, people
Okay.
have to support, the scientists supporting this aircraft.
All right. Group Captain Devnath? Concluding thoughts, sir?
Now that we will learn with this accident, and definitely court of inquiry will conclude and give us an insight into what more finishing touches are required. The aircraft is very good, absolutely no doubt about that.
All right. Mr. Ravi Gupta, we end with your thoughts, sir, on what the future entails for the Tejas.
Although an unfortunate incident, but it will immensely add to our knowledge about the aircraft, how it is functioning. It will not only make our Tejas aircraft even more safer, but also the inputs will go into the refining the design of the Tejas Mark II and the TED-BF which is planned, and also the AMCA which is already sanctioned and under development on the table. So I'm sure that this incident will give a lot of insights into the further design refinements of our future aircraft. I don't think there is anything serious in the aircraft itself, but nevertheless, let the inquiry come out. What has happened, we will know. And as the other panelists are saying, we have a bright future not just for Tejas aircraft, but for the Indian aeronautical industry. India, we have a great potential, and the Tejas is just the beginning. It's a long way to go, not only in terms of aircraft, we are also working on the unmanned aircraft system. The future belongs to the unmanned aircraft systems and the manned and unmanned teaming systems. So all these inputs will go into further refining our thinking on how to go about designing these futuristic systems.
Fair enough, sir. Appreciate, gentlemen, you joining in and sharing your profound perspective on this unfortunate incident. We take a short break now. We'll be back.